Hello and welcome to week 4. This week we're going to have you focus mostly on finding articles for your literature review, as well as learning about z-tests and some basic research designs, and a little bit about selecting a sample, which was in the lecture from last week, but I want to talk about that with you for a few minutes. I have attached a sample lit review, and I've also included a link to a sample final project. Both seem to work when I tested them out, but of course contact me immediately if neither one of these links are working for you. Alright, sorry for that movement. When you look at the lecture this week, one other thing is that I noticed that some of you have downloaded like 250 pages. So please don't download the material for each week in advance, as I do update and change that material based on what we're working on. So week 4, you're going to see a lecture on research design, and what I want to draw your attention to is the Solomon 4 group. It should be the last one listed. If you take a look, you're going to see that there are four groups in the Solomon 4 group. This design helps eliminate any kind of bias or sampling challenges. So group 1 and group 2 are going to receive a pretest. All right, that pretest is going to measure, right? Your pretest measures your dependent variable. So if we were looking at the effect of taking an exercise class on depression level, your pretest would be measuring your depression level. All right, so that pretest would be depression level. Your intervention would be, as I said, the exercise class. And in this model, groups 1 and 3 are going to get the exercise class. All right? And then to wrap up this experimental design, you give everyone, group 1, 2, 3, and 4, a post-test. The post-test is usually the same as your pre-test, right? So what does that measure? We want to see if there's been a change in the depression level, that dependent variable. So the post-test would also be a depression assessment, usually the same one as the pre-test. That is the Solomon 4 group design. Practice it. Look at it, listen to me again. It will be on your midterm. Other things on the midterm is information on selecting research designs. Actually, we'll be selecting sample size. Now, there's a number of sample ways that you can get a sample. One that you're all familiar with would be random sample, right? And so that would just be going in and taking every 5th one. It's a random sample. It works wonderful for very, very, very large samples. Another type of sampling is something called the snowball method. This is something that's very particular. You're needing to find a very specific type of person. Perhaps someone who has a master's degree in gerontology from Webster University from the online program. So you're going to interview somebody who has that degree from Webster from the online program, and then you're going to ask them, who else do you know? And they say, oh yeah, I know this person and this person and this person. And so then I go and interview those people who also have their master's from Webster University in gerontology. That is called the snowball method, because you kind of get one person and you snowball your sample size up. That is if it's a very small sample and it's hard to find your individuals. Another technique that is used with sampling is called matching. Matching is making each group look as similar as possible. So going back to that Solomon 4 group that we just had, right? We would want each group to look the same. So if you had 50% men and 50% women in group 1, you would want that in groups 2, 3, and 4. If you had people who exercised, people who didn't exercise, people who lived in apartments, and people who, you'd want the same amount in each and every group. You want the groups to look as identical as possible. That is called matching. Some people get that confused with ratio. However, when we look at ratio, you are looking at all of your participants as one large sample before you divide them up. So if you were studying 1,000 people, but you actually were dividing that into 250 per group, you still would look at, of those 1,000 people, right, what ratio was the gender, right? And so if the ratio is 1 to 1, meaning 50% women and 50% men, then the ratio in each of your groups would be 1 to 1, right? If it's 2 to 1, right, you're going to have twice as many 2 to 1 female. You'd have twice as many females in each group as males. And again, that's based on the larger sample, on the largest sample. Whatever that ratio is in the entire sample group, you want to have that ratio in each of the smaller groups. And that is called a ratio sample. So there's a little bit on sampling. Now, on to statistics. This week's statistics is the Z-test, capital Z. It compares the percentages or proportions between two groups. I have not done a videotape for the statistics lecture. I'm going to let you try to do it from the written material in the lecture. If that doesn't work for you, I will be happy to record a video. But I think the written one on this part works pretty well. So just make sure you follow the directions step by step. Always write out the formula first and then fill it out. All right? So that is the Z-test. By the end of the week, I will have written your midterm exam, and I will put that out for you so that you will have 2 full weeks to work on your midterm. Please contact me with any questions or concerns. Thank you.